Hi, welcome to the class. Today we'll do chapter 1 of grade 9 and the name of the chapter is Measurements and Experimentation. Right? So what we are going to study in this chapter, so as the name is telling you measurements, we are going to measure different physical quantities and we are going to experiment. So what we will experiment? We will experiment by measuring the different physical quantities with the help of different measuring instruments, right? So what we are going to do, we are going to study this chapter in three different parts. So what I told you measurements. Whose measurements? Measurement of different physical quantities. So first of all, we will understand about the physical quantities, right? In the second part, we will understand about the units. And in the third part, we will understand about the measuring instruments. Okay. So let us begin by physical quantities. So what are physical quantities? How do we define them? So physical quantities are the quantities which can be measured. So they are the quantities which are measurable. So any quantity which you can measure is the physical quantity. Can you think of some physical quantities? Any? Okay. So length can be measured. So length is a physical quantity. Length. Mass can be measured. Mass is a physical quantity. Weight can be measured. Weight is a physical quantity. Speed can be measured. Speed is a physical quantity. Time can be measured. Time is a physical quantity. So whatever quantities can be measured are the physical quantities. So what are physical quantities? Are the measurable ones, right? Now, how do we measure them? So I give you an example. If you go to the market to a fruit vendor and you ask him to give 1 kg of apples, so what he do? So what basically he does is that he takes 1 kg of apple. Now he has a measuring instrument. So without measuring instrument, you cannot measure the physical quantities. So physical quantities are the measurable one, and for measuring them we need a measuring instrument. So he has a measuring instrument which we call balance. Now in this balance, what he does, he puts up apples on one side of the balance and on the other side of the balance he put some weight. Suppose I want 1 kg of apple, so on the other side he will put 1 kg of weight. Now this 1 kg, 1 is the number and kg. What is this kg? Kg is basically the unit of what? Unit of mass. Alright, now this kg, which is the unit of mass, he is comparing our apples or the apples which I want. He is comparing those apples with that unit. Of course, there is the number there 1 kg, 2 kg, 3 kg, and so on. That number is there. But imagine if this unit is not there, how will you take the apples? You will not say give me 5 apples, 10 apples, 15 apples, right? So if he wants to measure those physical quantities, he is basically measuring the mass of the apple. Mass is a physical quantity because it can be measured. How it can be measured? Using the measuring instrument. Now what all we need in order to measure the physical quantities? We need a measuring instrument and we need units. Okay, like kg and all these things. So this units. So in my this whole explanation of this chapter, I'll be dividing this chapter into three parts, as I told you. First, second, and third. Right? So let's begin with this. So physical quantities are the ones which are measurable one. How do we measure? By comparing. So there was a comparison which was done in case of apples also. So apples were being compared with the mass of 1 kg. So it was compared with what? Units like 1 kg, 2 kg, 3 kg. 1, 2, 3 are numbers and kg is the unit with the help of a measuring instrument. So this is the whole map of this chapter. How we are going to do this chapter, right? Now these physical quantities are of two types. One is basic, fundamental, and the other one is derived. Now what are basic or fundamental physical quantities? As the name is telling you, basic or fundamental. Now I always ask this question in the class. Imagine in your grade 1 or grade 2, you people must have learned how to count the things. So counting you must have learned like 1, 2, 3, Then as we move on to grade 3, 4, 5, you started learning tables. Table of 2, table of 3. So is it possible for us to study the tables without studying the counting numbers? Answer is no. So counting numbers are what? They are the base. Okay. So tables depend on counting. Counting does not depend on table. So that is why this counting numbers are known as the basic, fundamental. Alright, they cannot be further divided. But using this we can do multiple things. We can multiply them, we can add them, we can subtract them, and we can divide them, we can do so many things with these things. So in a similar manner, there are physical quantities which are basic or fundamental like this. Okay. So basic or fundamental physical quantities are the one which are independent of other physical quantities, and other physical quantities depend on these physical quantities. So they are the basic fundamental physical quantities. How many fundamental and basic physical quantities do we have? So we have basically 7. Okay, what are they? Length, mass, time, temperature, current, luminous intensity, and then amount of substance. So these are the 7 basic fundamental physical quantities. Now guys, physical quantities are of 2 types, basic or fundamental and derived. Now the units of basic or fundamental physical quantities, units of basic or fundamental physical quantities will be known as basic or fundamental units, right? And for our discussion right now, although I'll be taking this part separately as I told you, for our discussion right now, whatever units we are discussing, those will be the SI units. Okay. So SI unit of length is meter. What is the symbol? M. So what is this meter? Meter is the basic or fundamental unit. Why basic or fundamental unit? Because it is the unit of basic or fundamental physical quantity. Right? Mass is kilogram. So it is kg. Time, seconds, so it is S. Temperature, Kelvin. Mind you, this is small k, and when I write the symbol, it is capital A. Current is ampere, small a, and then capital A. Luminous intensity, then this is candela, CD, and this is mole, which is mole. So these are the 7 basic fundamental physical quantities, and these are the basic fundamental units of these basic fundamental physical quantities. Now, what are the derived physical quantities? So derived physical quantities are the quantities which depend on these basic or fundamental physical quantities, like the table depends on the counting number. So what are the example of this? Example is area. So area is what? Area is length into breadth. So what is this length? Length comes here. What is this breadth? Breadth is also a distance. So when we are talking of this length, we are not talking of specifically length. We are talking of the distance. So breadth is also distance, height is also distance. So therefore area is made up of these lengths. So that is why area is derived. What is the unit? Meter square. So meter square is a derived unit of this derived physical quantity, area. Similarly, we have volume. What is volume? Length into breadth into height. So length is a distance, breadth is a distance, height is a distance. So all comes here. So what is the unit? Meter cube. Also speed we have. Speed is equals to distance upon time. Speed is equals to distance upon time. Distance is length. Time is there. So of course this is a derived physical quantity. It is meter per second. Guys, this is important. We write meter slash per second. We read it meter per second. Also you can write it as meter s minus 1. Because in division, meter upon second, when what is the power of this? S to the power 1. When it will go up, it will become ns minus 1. Right? So these were the basic things about the basic or fundamental and derived physical quantities. We'll study then these physical quantities in detail. We'll study about different units of these physical quantities, and then we'll come to the other parts. Right? Thank you.